So that's what I'm going to do. So for you, Rishab, please correct me if I'm saying your name incorrectly. Um, Rishab, yeah, feel free to correct it. So here's a question. I'm a self-taught UX UI designer. Uh, that's great. I'm kind of like self-taught as well because I never studied interaction design in the past. So no bootcamp, no design degree, but I can still design full app now. That's great. More power to you. But you don't have any real life project to work on. Okay, so what exactly is the question? How to work on projects that are more applicable to real life or to internship portfolio? Like what is the question? But to just build off of what you have in the chat, let me see. Let me see. So one thing, I guess the question that I have back to you is, first, what do you mean? Second, when you say you can design a full app, what do you mean by that? Because if you're designing an app, that means you have a project. What kind of project is that one? Okay, let's see. How am I going to find real life projects or internships? So, if we work backward, right? So to get an internship, like when you are here, what are the steps to get there? Well, first thing is you have a UX centric resume that you can send out. If they even look at that, most companies do. I personally don't find that is the best entry point, but if they require, so do we. We have that, and the industry. And then the main thing is your portfolio. So the portfolio and your interviews are basically the two key things to determine whether you can get the internship. And the interview part should be okay as long as you have done the work, you have worked with the people that you're supposed to work with, which deeply connected with the videos I'm about to release, which is great. So stay tuned. So for the portfolio piece, that's the main thing that you need to focus on. It doesn't actually matter whether you do real life projects, like a project that you work with at a work on at a company. Hi, Razer. My mic's really low. Let me see. Is it better? Let me know if it's better. Or I can move my mic closer and see if that helps. Hello, hello, testing, testing. So back to the portfolio piece. So you can basically do any projects that you identify as worthwhile doing. It could be a completely redesign of an existing product, redesign Airbnb, redesign Pinterest, redesign Spotify. Those are pretty classic projects. It's just when you go into those projects, make sure you understand what those products are at the company, like what is the mission of the product, how do they make money, what's the business model, so that when you go into designing those products, redesigning those products, revamping those products, you are not going off track to something else that turns out to be completely different from what they're already building. So it's more like you're building on top of what they have built, not completely change their business model or how they operate their apps. Let me see. My mic is still low. Rich Bath, are you able to hear me? Just to make sure that the audio is not just me or just Razer. I maxed out my audio on this front. Let me see what else I can do here. Okay. Okay, so I guess research shop thing function. Maybe double check the headphone input output, the system setting. I've maxed out on my end on this mic. and I'm exited from the streaming software. I'm talking louder, so I'm trying to amplify my voice. Um, yeah, see what you can do on your end. But I see a new person join. Bruna, welcome. Correct me if I'm saying your name incorrectly. But we are still answering the first question in the chat about how to do real life projects. So one thing that I mentioned was to redesign, revamp existing products, existing apps, services, but make sure you understand what they do, what the core product is. So when you redesign it, you don't go sidetrack, you don't go off topic to it. Second thing is you just observe your everyday life. There's so many problems out there that needs to be addressed. Um, some of the problems are addressable, but some of them are not. So make sure when you go into it, identify which is which. Especially when you look into the return of investment. That's something that when you if you do the project, you go to the interview, they might challenge you. Like, is it actually worth solving? Is a problem worth solving? That means you have to do your research, like justify, oh, it's really a large group of users being affected. It's really hurting people. It's destroying, I don't know, economy. It's causing harm. It's causing so much inconvenience. It's wasting so much time. That's why this is a real problem that you should address. So that's another thing. So you can actually find all of those. So for example, uh, what projects have I run into recently? Even like the mailbox. Like the mailbox you have, if you live in a house in a suburb, if a mailbox outside, like the people they put the mail into the mailbox, like how do you know the mails are there? Because like for example, the one that we have, I have to open the little lid every morning or every night to see if there are mails in it, right? Do I have to do that to check, or should that tell me, hey, you have mail, or hey, you don't have mail, you just walk straight home? For example, things like that. There are a lot of little things in life you can notice and take note of, and spin it out into a project that you think is worth doing. And what else? Those are two really good starting point to have. Um, a third thing, I guess, is not a redesign, but to build a feature for a company. Let's say you really wanted to work for Pinterest. Then you can design a feature that goes into their mobile app and justify why this is a good feature to have. What does it help? What problem does it help solve? Or what new experiences, what cool experiences, what great experiences that help bring to their products, to bring to their app. And of course, you have to design to their design language. You not so that it looks really integrated, not like a separate thing from a third-party plugin that doesn't fit into their app. Make sure you execute seamlessly. So those are three entry points that you can tackle on. Just to double check, am I answering your question correctly? Is that am I getting your question right? Because once you have done those projects, spend like 2 months on it, you should have a pretty in-depth piece to put in your portfolio, which will really help you for your internship applications. Yeah, so for those who are here, feel free to shoot your questions, and if I have not answered a question properly or sufficiently, feel free to comment down below and follow up on. Let's see, so this is a parking app. Users can book their parking spot in advance. I face some problem while parking my vehicle or at the railway station. My friends face the same problem. Great, so exactly. So you are actually tackling a problem that you see in your everyday life or in your friends' everyday life, which is great. So this project could likely be valid. So what? Yeah, keep expanding what you're about to say. Are you asking specifically about a project, or how you should approach it, what angle? But meanwhile, I'm gonna fill in some of my thoughts here. So for this project, so it seems like you're not the only one have the problem. So definitely somebody you can interview with, your friends. And parking spots in the vans. Uh, would this, for example, how scalable would this product be? Would this app be? Is it just for that particular train station or railroad station, or this could be expanded to across the city, all the parking, reserve a parking beforehand? This is an interesting point. Actually, reserving a parking spot ahead of time, booking one. I have seen apps, so there are apps in the US that you can pay for parking after you park with your phone. There's an app to it. But I don't know about reserving parking, so this is a different problem to address. Yeah, maybe it's worth looking into. Another thing is that there's some interesting challenges and problems that could come up in this exercise, in this project, which is, can anybody reserve spots anytime? So does that mean that there will always be vacancy in spots, because before they get there, the spot is open. But if it takes 20 minutes for you to get there, so is the spot going to be open for 20 minutes? Yes, you're paying for it, but is it the best utilization of the system? Like, what is that efficiency model? Like, something to think about, because that gets more into the nitty gritty design thinking, business model, business product thinking, which could be a good exercise. So you're designing this app and ask your friends more details and talk to more people. Great, yeah. So you're doing your field research, your interview, you dig deeper into what exactly the pain points and problems that you look into. So yeah, I think to go back a little bit, there's nothing wrong with self-taught UI UX designer. I don't really think that will put you in, or put anybody in disadvantage, because ultimately it's what your portfolio looks like. So you can come from any background, any country, with or without design degree, certificates, bootcamp. As long as your portfolio is solid, you're in, you're good. So put more time to it. One thing that I tend to see people who don't go through design school, their portfolio tend to be a little bit lacking in the visual design side of things, because there's always, I can tell everybody straight, there's a bar somewhere that everybody has to pass if you want to work at certain companies in the Bay Area. At bootcamp level, it's always somewhere below it, because it's hard to teach visual design at a bootcamp, so they just skip it, or they might just cover the very basic that you don't really get an inherent instinctual understanding of it, so you're not going to apply it as well. Second, you don't have enough time to practice it in your bootcamp, so make sure you spend more time exploring it, finding inspirations, looking at great designs from like Behance, from Dribble, from design-driven companies, and level your visual design skill up to that bar. That should really help. And yeah, feel free to leave more questions. And I have another one from Richard Shop. Function does FN stand for function or fin? Let me know what that stands for, so I can say your full YouTube handle correctly. So your question about take-home exercise, you got one from Samsung. Congrats! I don't even get one from Samsung. I applied and no response for me. What are some of the tips that you have for them for internship? So take-home challenge. I don't know if you have seen the video that I have made for take-home exercise. I'm going to find it in the meantime. I will send it over to chat. But one thing to really mention is, well, I will start counting of the things that you should take note of. One, spend enough time on it. So if they say don't spend more than 3 hours, totally a lie. A lie. Spend more than 5, 6, 7, 8 hours on it. The whole point is to just get your redesign, your design, your project, the take-home challenge to a really high polished state, so that when they see it, in the first impression, they captivated. Oh, this is cool. What do I have? Yeah, don't listen for 5 hours. I mean, if you can do a really high quality design in 4 or 5 hours, great. More power to you. I don't think I can. Maybe I can do it now, but back then when I was still applying for internships, definitely I need to spend more than 5 hours. So spend more time on it. Second, pay a lot of attention to visual design, which impacts deeply the first impression that they will get from your project. If it's too loose, if it's too wireframey, out, likely that you'll be out. Because there will be other people designing a way better looking one. So before they even dive into your thought process and UX, when they see the polish is lacking behind, they're just gonna skip it, or at least put your design exercise on hold and look at other people's. So something to think about. And yeah, you basically have to go through the whole process for the exercise. You know, research depends on how much you can get done. Research, maybe it's an app audit. You download like 5-6 apps that tackle the same problem in the app store and see how they work. Maybe interview 1 or 2 people, or maybe just do some lightweight research on the internet, what issues people run into. Even ask your parents, ask your friends, ask your family members. And the design, brainstorm, ideation, go wide, explore a lot of different directions, and then compare them, pros and cons. This one's the best because A, B, C, D, E. This is the second because A, B, C, D, and E. And then you keep developing, prototype, and then design, testing if you can get to. So you have a really strong project to come up with. So spend as much time as you can afford. I know if you are a student, you might have homework, you might have other events, you might have football games, you might have clubs. But yeah, okay, let me see. Should I spend more time than they recommend on the slide deck? Yeah, spend more than. Yeah, they're not gonna cut you out the application because you spend more time on it. That only shows the dedication you can have. But don't spend crazy amount like 20 hours, 24 hours, pull like 3 all-nighters in a row. It's not good for your health. It's not sustainable. So do it in a sustainable, dedicated manner. Let's see. The slide deck. The slide deck is another thing. Present your project properly, not just to have great screenshots in great mockup in Figma. Have a nice proper presentation. Okay, Rishab. I'm still having problem pronouncing your name. Please tell me what's the best way to pronounce it. Rishab. I search for other parking apps on the internet and look for pain points of the existing users. They want the app can save many vehicles. Let me actually zoom in more. Oh, much better, dude. This is great. They want reminder system that reminder people. Yeah, those are valid points, right? You want to reserve the spots. When you get there, it reminds you when it's about to expire, so you don't get tickets. It's about offering that convenience of reserving it, but also removing some of the stress of, oh, I forgot to pay for parking, oh, I'm gonna get a ticket. So those are 2 great pain points to address. You added some of these in my app, so I'm still working on my final design. Yeah, great. Yeah, so try to polish it, try to address maybe 3 to 4 pain points, like 5, even like 5. Put together a more holistic system. And also the at later stage when you get closer, see how you can expand this app. Like, you have to imagine, what if this is actually a company? What if you are a company? You're the CEO of this company. You're also this designer on it. When you design this parking app, what should you consider? The business model. How you can expand to different regions. What if I go travel to Copenhagen in Denmark? I rent a car. I want to park. Can this app do that? Can I just put in my current location, current city, Copenhagen, and then it shows me all the parking. It connects to all the parking meters. How does that work? Right? What's the infrastructure behind it? So those are something that's beyond the app level, but could heavily affect user experience when they're traveling, not just locally. Because think about it, if you're the CEO, when you have an app that can work in all countries, you might charge a 1% fee for each parking and reservation, and if you can expand that globally, this is a successful business. This is a successful product. This will be a great design. So think about those kind of things, because from the product standpoint, when you apply for internships, they could ask questions about it, or I could at least poke some of you, poke your brain into the business side of things, because product design, a lot of the things right now are product design. You're designing a product. Product involves the business. It's not just making the UI looks pretty or great. Solving the problem is great, but somebody have to pay for it. Somebody have to be willing to spend money because they see the value in the problem that you are solving, or they see the value in the solution that you're providing them. If they don't see value, then maybe the problem that you are solving has a really, really low return of investment. And if that's the case, the only thing they can evaluate you on is your general design process, your UI skills, visual design skills, interaction. The product side could be lacking. But if you don't have any design degrees or don't have not done enough projects yet, it's probably okay. It's not a big deal. I'm not trying to push you too much into that direction, but it's just something to keep it in the back of your head. Okay, so you're looking more for pain points. I can put on this project. Do you think this parking app topic is good? Well, I'm guessing you're asking, is this app worth designing? First of all, if you don't have anything in your portfolio yet, definitely worth it. It's at least your first project. Get you started. Hit the ground and running. Get yourself comfortable with the design process, talking to people. Second, you have your friend mentioning that they need a. Let me just quiet my notifications. Excuse me. If your friends have the same problem, related problems, that means there are some pain points that might be worth addressing, because it's not just you. There's potentially you could review a bigger things, something bigger under the hood. So yes, good to take a look. And what else? If you've done any research on it, I mean, if there are parking apps on the market, that means there is likely a need for it. People need a parking app to pay for their parking, to remind them their parking time is about to run out, so they should add money to it. Yeah, so there are many validation points. Your own research, if companies are doing similar things, or what else? The research paper about it, something you might need to find out. And the fourth thing might be, when you finish the project, show it to other people, show it to more people. Just not just your friends that have the same pain points, but people who have not asked you that before. Because at that point, then you will really need, you can really find out if this is a really mainstream common problem. People who have not said anything about it yet doesn't mean it's not a problem to them. Maybe it's not what they think of all the time. Maybe it's not a priority. But once you show it to them, they might relate. They were like, oh yeah, exactly. I wish we had that feature, or oh, I'll really pay for it. Then boom, you have validations. So that's user testing after you finish the project. So yeah, I think we run over quite a bit. So okay, thank you guys for joining. Razor Shop Function, and Rishap. Yeah, feel free to add to the chat how I should pronounce your name correctly. But yeah, thanks for the questions. This is really productive, and yeah, I will take a look at my other videos, and stay tuned. Like and subscribe to the channel. I have 2 videos coming up, interviews with engineers and researchers that might help shed some light on how you should approach your projects for internships, or maybe even take-home exercise on it. But before I jump out. Let me find the video that I own. Razor Shop thing. This is the video, I believe, that's about take-home exercise or challenge. And wow, my internet is really slow for some reason. And then after that, we can head off to other things. Yeah, I think this works, right? Wow, something went wrong. Let me double check on this one. But yeah, thank you guys for joining. I should have another one next Saturday, maybe next Friday. I'm trying to shift the schedule a little bit to accommodate more people. I don't really know their schedule. I might just start a poll and see what works the best for everybody. And presentation, that's another video. Stay with me for a second. Let me find the other one. So I remember I made 2 videos about presentation. I made 2 videos about take-home exercise, razor thin that I could show you. This is getting out of hand. Oh, let me just find the playlist. And Rishab, if you want to take a look at my channel, I do have a playlist on portfolio, what project to include and things like that. So when you go into your project, you can take a look at what they have. Let me see. So this is the interview prep. Interview prep is this playlist, I believe, and then the portfolio one is let me see if this works. Copy link. Yeah, I think this works. Portfolio prep is this playlist. Bookmark it or save it, open it, I don't know. If you see anything that is useful, leave a comment. If you see something is missing that you really want me to address it in a longer format, so you can go back to it, revisit it. Also leave a comment so I can keep taking in feedback and make better videos for everybody. So yeah, have fun guys, have a happy Halloween and have a lovely Saturday or Sunday, depends on where you are. I will see you all in the next live stream. Tschüss.